Could be coming to the way our state conducts elections. That's at least what Secretary of State Ken Bennett said today. He's suggesting a switch from polling places to voting centers. But already Democrats are criticizing that possibility. ABC 15's Tim Vetcher joins us now live. And Tim, this all comes on a day when all those remaining votes from the general election were finally counted.
Yeah, Katie, 2 weeks to the day, as a matter of fact. All the votes, as you say, are now officially counted. This is what election workers have been dealing with over the past 14 days. Literally hundreds of thousands of provisional ballots you see there and early ballots that weren't able to be counted on Election Day. Today, people on both sides of the aisle say this needs to change.
The election system in Arizona is functioning pretty much the way it was designed.
Secretary of State Ken Bennett backed off earlier comments that indicated he wanted to, quote, overhaul the state's election system. But Bennett did say voters may see some changes the next time they head to the polls.
Just because we want to improve doesn't mean that the system we're currently using is broken.
Bennett's big proposal involves a switch from polling places to so-called voting centers. The change would allow workers to process provisional and early ballots on site versus transporting them to a central location.
If a significant chunk of those ballots can actually be processed at the voting center, then that's a huge reduction in the amount of work that has to be done in the week or two thereafter.
I'm not sure that's the answer to this at all.
House Minority Leader Chad Campbell doubts voting centers will improve how Arizona conducts elections. He plans to introduce legislation when the House and Senate convene in January to create a bipartisan election reform study committee.
And there are plenty of states around the country that have finished counting their ballots a lot faster than we have here in Arizona, states with much larger populations. So there's got to be something we can do better to improve the system here in Arizona.
Campbell criticized the high number of provisional ballots issued and subsequently the amount that never got counted. Bennett said for one reason or another, 19% of all the provisional ballots statewide ended up getting tossed out.
Anytime you have a higher number of provisionals, you're going to have a higher number of ballots tossed out. And though it may not be intentional, that is still a backdoor method of voter suppression.
Now, overall, Bennett says there were 632,000 ballots like these statewide that weren't able to be counted on Election Day. The 14 days he says that it took to count all of them, Katie, is actually 1 day less than what it took workers during the last presidential election in 2008 to count all the early ballots and those provisional ballots.
Yeah, some interesting comparisons there. Thank you.